Kawhi could have stopped it. And if you do not give an endorsement, it is an indictment. This is what Kawhi Leonard said after the Game 7 loss. He said that's when it comes to team chemistry, knowing what you should run to get the ball in spots, or just if someone is getting doubled or they're packing the paint, get smarter as a team. Basketball IQ has got to get better. Who's in charge of getting people in the right spot? Who's in charge of if someone's packing the paint, this is what we need to do. He said Doc Rivers did fail to do that. Skip, this is what we know. They can say all they want to that Steve Ballmer went on this. No, he did not. Because Steve Ballmer is in a situation no owner wants to find themselves in. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can opt out. They don't have a first-round draft pick until 2026. They've mortgaged their future. Are you telling me that he's going to go against the wishes of Kawhi Leonard, who can opt out with no draft picks? He never wants to be what the Clippers used to be, Skip. Clippers were laughingstock. At least now people take them serious. Kawhi Leonard could have stopped it. If he says, I want Doc back, Doc Rivers is the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. That's fact. Now, he can say he went it alone. Why you even ask him if you're going to go it alone? If you worth $70 billion, and you're going to ask a man that's worth $100 million. For what? Kawhi Leonard could have saved Doc Rivers' job. He did not. Even if he doesn't, Skip, in a situation like this, if someone comes to you and you don't give them an endorsement, it's an indictment. And they will, and the person that's asking you the question will take it as such. Someone asks you, hey, Skip, what you think about that? Well, he's pretty good. Oh, Skip Saber. No, that's not what you want to hear. Man, I like him. He's a hardworking guy. He's honest. I love the passion that which he does such and such. Okay, that's an endorsement. But if they come to you and you don't give them endorsement, that's an indictment. Kawhi Leonard indicted Doc Rivers, and that's why Doc Rivers does not have that job. He blamed Doc Rivers. But I want to know, Nick Nurse didn't get an ounce of credit when Kawhi Leonard was on the Toronto Raptors and they won that title. He got no credit. It was all Kawhi Leonard. Now Kawhi Leonard goes and they gag. He gagged in 4 losses. In the second half, he shot 24%. In a Game 7 with the money, the cyborg, he feels nothing. He has no emotion. He doesn't know what pain is. 1 for 11 in the second half, 0 points in the fourth quarter. 2 points in the second half. Skip, wear a keychain. You know what? I got something for you, though. I got a little special treat. You better. I got something special for you.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I got one for you, too. I'm going to wear a goat mask.
No, you're not. No. Ain't got enough room for one goat up here. I bet.
I'll wear a crown to commemorate LeBron's 4th ring. How about that?
Nope. We don't want no parts of you. We go at it alone.
Okay, so before any Clippers topic, I have to make a public service announcement. Dear people watching, the Clippers lost to the Nuggets. I was wrong. Kawhi stunk in the second half of Game 7.
6.
But Kawhi was actually really good in the fourth quarter of Game 6 and in the fourth quarter of Game 5. Look it up.
No,
okay.
He was okay.
Now back to
Not
business.
Good. Okay.
So how do you know, Mr. Sharp,
Yes.
on cross-examination,
Yes.
how do you know that Kawhi didn't tell Steve Ballmer when he called Kawhi, I love Doc, I think we should keep him? How do you know he didn't say that?
Because he would have kept him. Skip, you have no...
How do you know that?
Skip, let's think of this. Because Kawhi Leonard can opt out after next year. So can Paul George. So you have the potential of losing 2 superstars, and you have no capital to get long draft picks until 2026. So you traded your first-round pick this year to get Marcus Morris. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 are gone. You lost the pick from Miami with the swaps, and they get to swap with you. Sam Presti said, okay, you want Paul George? What you willing to give up for him? And Kawhi Leonard said, if you get Paul George, I will come. So you had to give up 4 first-round draft picks and swaps. So there's no way, Steve Ballmer, with the possibility, Skip, if I had him for another 5 years, I can say, nah, Kawhi, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can't go anywhere. But because he can opt out after next year, you're not running that risk. No way, no how.
So the ESPN story says nothing the players told Steve Ballmer, according to sources, changed Ballmer's mind about moving on from Doc Rivers. Nothing Kawhi told him. So you're saying it was passive-aggressive, where he might have just sat back and said, I don't know.
You're going to do what you're going to do.
And you think that damned him with faint praise,
Yep,
right?
I do. You told Skip Bayless, this is what Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless said he started covering the Lakers in 1976, which, if I'm not mistaken, might have been Kareem's first year in L.A. And he said this was a superstar. He said, that's what one thing Jerry West and Pat Riley said superstars run the NBA.
No, you win with superstars, yes.
But they run this league here because this is what we know. Larry Bird wanted a different coach. Casey Jones started coaching. Magic Johnson wanted a different coach. They got a different coach. Even after Paul Westhead won a title.
LeBron James said, enough of David Blatt, and he was history.
Out of there.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, it is, Skip.
And what did LeBron James do in his first year in Miami? He went upstairs to Riles, as he called him.
Yes.
And he said, when are you going to coach this team? Meaning, get this kid out of here.
Right.
I'm done with this Spo kid.
Right.
He's not ready for this. He's in over his head.
Right.
That's what was reported.
Yes.
So Riles said, I think I'm going to stick with him.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Was that the beginning of the end of the relationship between LeBron James and Pat Riley?
Maybe, but the difference was he had LeBron under contract for 3 more years.
Okay.
LeBron couldn't go anywhere. He got to opt out after next season.
Steve Ballmer is one of those guys, one of those internet millionaires, billionaires, I should say. He first was a millionaire, but who did it his way. And he wants results, and he wants them now. And when you don't give him results, when he expected championship, or at least finals, and you fail miserably, where you were in charge all the way through the series, except at the end.
Right.
Heads are going to roll. That's just the way he operates. That's how he got to be worth $70 billion. He just paid, I forget what the price tag was, but he bought the Forum.
$400 million.
$400 million, and he's going to invest $1 billion in a new arena there.
Right.
To rival SoFi Stadium, I'm
Right.
sure.
Yes.
That will be the new home of the Los Angeles
Yeah.
Clippers, so they can get out of the basement
Right.
at Staples Center and go out toward LAX, the airport.
Right.
And live out where it all started for Showtime Lakers at the fabulous Forum.
Skip, he can build a $10 billion The Clippers are never going to replace the Lakers. The Lakers got too big of a head start. That's like an upstart company trying to replace what we. No, you can't do that, Skip. I want to know the company that's going to outdo Apple. So who's coming up with something that's going to be bigger than Apple? Because Apple got too big of a head start. Google got too big of a head start. You might come up and you might have a nice situation where you have a market cap value of $100 billion. But they got too big of a head start. The Lakers got 50 plus years in front of you, Skip, and you've been terrible for 50 of those years that you've been here with the Lakers.
Never
living in the
say
basement.
never.
Living in the basement.
Yep.
That's what you're supposed to be.
So, Steve Ballmer, listen to Doc Rivers. Legitimate excuses to me, or reasons why we failed. Number one, no dominant leader emerged other than me. I was always the strongest voice in the room because we know this. Kawhi's no big vocal leader.
No, he's not. He's no vocal leader, Skip. He's not. He leads with his play. Popovich said it. Say, look, Kawhi's a phenomenal talent.
Yep.
He's a great player. He's not a leader. That's Manu. That's Patty Mills. If you go
That
to
was Tim Duncan.
what I'm saying,
Yes.
what's Timmy
Let's
left?
go.
Yeah, what's Timmy left? You go to Toronto. That's Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry was the leader of that team.
Okay.
Van Fleet. That's not Kawhi.
Okay.
And so when chaos is erupting, Skip, you need somebody. They can't just be with their play. You got to have a calming, a soothing voice of somebody that's in the locker room.
Okay. So then Doc told Ballmer, we took off right before the pandemic hit. I know the Lakers won one of those games,
Yeah.
but the Clippers were starting to click at a high level where the chemistry was starting to percolate. They were starting to get to feel for each other,
Right.
starting to vibe off each other in ways they hadn't all year.
Right.
And Doc said, rug gets jerked right out from underneath us because we have to take 5 months off when we needed reps.
Right.
I told you, LeBron needed rest. They needed reps.
Right.
So again, that's a legitimate excuse. And this might be the most legitimate at all. When they got to bubble time, half the team didn't want to go to the bubble. And when they got to the bubble, half the team didn't want to stay in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Are these legit excuses? Yes, yes, yes. But Ballmer wants results. And all he knows is, well, wait a second, we're up 3 games to 1. And in every game, we were 8.5-point favorites. The Lakers were only 6-point favorites over Denver each of those nights. We were 8.5. So the odds makers are saying, you're even better than over Denver than the Lakers were.
Right.
that means that you guys should have been, would have been favored over the Lakers if you just gotten to the Lakers. And what happened? You're up 3-1, and you got a 16-point lead in the first closeout, and a 19 in the second closeout, and a 12 in the third closeout, and you can't close?
Skip, and therein what blows up Doc's argument. Even though they might have been playing well and they had to go on a hiatus.
Yep.
Maybe guys didn't want to go to the bubble. And maybe guys, once they got to the bubble, didn't want to stay. Steve Ballmer is saying, through all of that, you were still up 3-1. I need you to explain to me how you're up 3-1 under all those circumstances.
Right.
Because all those circumstances were still in play when you got the 3-1 lead. So you can't use